Hi, and welcome to another edition of Colorado Real Estate Rock Stars, sponsored by the Clayton team. A mortgage is not a one size fits all. With the Clayton team, we'll give you a mortgage tailored to your needs. Call the Clayton team at 719. So, welcome to another edition of Colorado Real Estate Rock Stars. Today, we are joined by Jerome Hanson. And Jerome is with Jerome. It is Cell State Alliance Realty. Is that correct?
That is correct. Cell State
Okay,
Alliance Realty and Property Management. That's the full name. Yeah.
got it. And Jerome can be get your pens and pencils. Jerome can be reached at 719-967-3015. So be sure to write down that number. Jerome would be happy to help you with all your real estate needs. And I promise that you are going to love listening to this interview, and you're going to love this guy. He's pretty awesome, I think. So
Yeah, I'm
Jerome,
all right. You know what I mean?
welcome. I I'm so
Thank
happy I finally got you on here. We've kind of been talking about this for a while, and
Yep.
our schedules finally worked out. We've been working with a
Yeah.
couple of clients together.
Yeah, they've been good clients. Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's always interesting. No, we actually do have a great client. So, uh, Jerome, you've been in the business for, is it like 2-3 years now?
Coming up on 2 years, actually. My 2 year mark, I want to say, is going to be November. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, to be honest with you, that you're just coming up on your 2 years, and where your numbers are as far as how many properties that you've sold. Do you realize that puts you in the top 4% in the country?
Oh, no, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that. I
You,
didn't realize that.
yes.
Um, yeah, I
So,
mean, you know what? It's not. I don't really worry too much about the numbers that way as far as like quantity. Um, not a thing that I, really track and stuff like that. But that's nice to know. Huh.
yeah, you honestly are doing amazing. I know agents that have been in the
Appreciate it.
business, for 2 or 3 years, and they've maybe only sold 3 properties, 4 properties. The
Mm.
average agent, now this is across the country, and this
Yeah.
kind of accounts for however long someone's been in the business, but the average agent only sells uh, 5 transactions a year.
Oh,
And
okay.
anybody that's selling more than 8 is in that top 4%. So congratulations on
I
that.
appreciate
I
it. I
I think
appreciate it.
that
It's
is
I
amazing.
definitely, you know, even though I don't really track numbers and stuff, it is a point of, I would say, pride for me to be able to assist others in getting their real estate transactions done. One of the things I usually tell people is that even though I started being a real estate agent at the end of 2021, that's not really when I got into real estate, right? So
Sure.
my real estate experience actually comes from me personally investing in real estate. Back in 2014, that's when I personally bought, with my wife, we bought our first house in Arizona. And then, to be honest, after we finally bought our first house, that's when the real estate bug hit me. You know what I mean?
Really?
And then, it was kind of like an investing thing. And then I was, kind of scooping up properties here and there in Arizona. And that's where the true love of real estate came in for me. So my experience is kind of a little bit farther back
Mhm.
than that.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about your family. So I know you're married
Yep.
and you have kids.
Yep. Two kids. So um we're going to be coming up on 16 years of marriage.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
really?
Yeah, it's gonna be 16 years. We met in Germany because I was military for 20 years,
Hmm.
um, and in we met actually online, right? So
Oh,
if
did you
y'all
really?
remember, yeah, we met online. If y'all remember the predecessor to Facebook, which is MySpace, that's
Hmm.
actually how my wife and I met. So we met on MySpace, but we immediately, met in person. It was a very long drive. We would drive back and forth to go see each other and everything like that. But we married very, very quickly after meeting. So
Did you?
it was like 6 months. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. It was about six
You know
months.
what? And you're coming up on 16 years of
Yeah.
marriage?
Yeah. Yep. Got two kids and everything, right? In our household, we are pretty much bilingual. So the kids speak German. Um,
Nice.
Obviously, mainly with mom. That there is no English really being spoken between mom and the kids,
Oh,
and then
really? Total
yeah,
immersion.
yeah.
That's
And then with
great.
me, it's mainly English with me, but I do speak German as well, just not as well as them. Because I have the ability to tell, wifey, no, I'm not speaking German right now. You know what I mean? So she's the kids don't got that option. So that's how that goes. But yeah, and yeah, like I said, I was in the military for 20 years. Right after I retired is actually when I became a realtor. So that's why I've only been in for 2 years. Yeah.
So you like literally just transitioned right now. You were Army, correct?
Yep, I was Army.
Were you Army? So you ended up here at Fort Carson.
Yeah, and that was not by luck. That was choice.
Oh, was
Um,
it?
yeah. So we were in Arizona for a pretty long time. We were there for a little over 5 years. Um,
Oh,
I was already building up my real estate experience personally there.
uh,
I did a couple flips. I did buy and holds. I did some creative financing things to try and get properties. So that's where I built up my experience there, and I fell in love with it. And I knew that I wanted to be somewhere where the economy was going to be good for real estate. And
hmm.
as it evolved, as my thought process evolved, I realized like I need to be able to help people get into real estate, number one, and then understand what it can do for them long term as well. You know what I mean? So that's
Hmm.
where being an agent kind of just fell right into my lap. I knew that I was going to be doing it. So yeah,
That's nice. So you understand, whether it's someone who wants to be an investor or someone who just wants to flip a property or someone who is buying their first home
yeah,
or move up buyer or coming from out of state. Though that's huge to have that kind of background.
yeah. I think it does help me because in all of those experiences that you just talked about, you know, I have a little bit of experience in each one. you
Mhm.
know,
Sure.
being that I moved everywhere in the military, I get that piece of it. Being a first time home buyer, of course, we all have that. Well, many of us have that
Mhm.
experience, right? Flipping a property, I understand what that takes. I understand the calculation it takes for an investor to want to buy his or her next property, and the exit strategy that may come with that. You know what I mean? So I feel like I am capable of sort of understanding and grasping where they're coming from. So it's
Mhm.
it's made it a little bit easier for me to kind of connect with a lot of people. I will say though that most of my clients right now, or that I have had and are getting, they're mostly all either active duty or veterans. Obviously, I spent 20 years in the military, so that's just kind of that's
Sure.
that's my personality. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's who I attract or whatnot. When they see me, they're like, "Oh yeah, that dude was in the army." Like,
You got that look. You got that army look.
yeah. So,
Well, there again, you understand,
Yeah.
as people are PCSing in. And I think it's one of those things that, if you're in the military or, I was an Air Force wife, I get it. I get it. And it
Yep.
is something that you don't know how. I'm not gonna it is kind of scary whenever you're always moving, always.
Yeah.
And you build your community, and then, we're gonna uproot and go again. So I think having someone like you, that what they're feeling. You know how stressful it is. That's helpful.
Yeah. And you know what? You know what's funny about it is, and me and my wife have talked about this, is that strangely enough, you also get afraid of staying in one place, right? After that, right around the 2.5 year mark, the 3 year
It's
mark,
time to go.
you would normally be leaving. All of a sudden, I'm staying now, and it's like, okay, I got to get over that.
Yeah. I just know the grass is greener someplace
Yeah,
else.
you gotta get over that hump. But once you get over it, you're like, okay, it's back to putting down roots. It's back to building your own community, your own
Yeah.
network, and everything like that. So yeah, it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling.
I think it's a double-edged sword, honestly, because there is that sense of adventure,
Yep.
and you do want to go to the next place and try something out. And,
Yeah.
I've been here in Colorado for many, many, many years now. However, not long ago, I went out to Vegas to open a branch. And then from there, I went and hung out in California for a year. And then I was in Washington. And then I realized Colorado was home, so I
Yeah.
came back. So I get it. It was that, I don't know. I don't want to say we're necessarily looking for something, but it is that adventure. So
Yeah.
I understand
100%.
that. But it's great because with kids, it's nice to have that stability,
Yep.
where you're staying in one place.
Yeah, for me,
So,
I really, as far as the kids are concerned, I feel good because they got to see dad in the military when they were young.
mhm,
My eldest right now is about to be 13 in the winter. So she spent a large chunk of her life seeing dad as military army dad, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And now there's still a lot of time left for her to see the civilian dad, you know, the
Sure.
real estate agent, so that'll be good.
And get to have dad around.
Yep. Yep.
So, teenage daughter, are you prepared?
No.
You
No.
got about a fun 5 years ahead of you.
I don't even want to hit that topic when they're not there. I'm not ready. We're not prepared. Nope.
It'll be fine. It's kind of like, the tough real estate market right now. We just got to take a breath and keep moving
Yeah.
forward. Just take a
Yeah.
breath. So, she will be
We're already
18
feeling little
eventually.
bits
And
of it. I'm
how
already
old
feeling
is
little
do
bits
you
of it.
have two girls or
No, my youngest is a boy. He's 9. Yeah.
he's still fun?
He's got a little bit to go.
Yeah. He's not really quite moody yet or
Nope.
anything.
Not that. Not there yet.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Probably, knowing Army Dad though, they'll probably toe the line pretty well, I would assume.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it was for me, that was a big deal. You know, it is it's kind of in my nature to be somewhat strict and just I'm not even sure if that's from the army. i
Uh,
i am one of those people that I set goals for myself and family, and that's kind of just the way that we move along, right? I did the same thing with my kids, and an example with that is like reading. I taught them both how to read much earlier than I guess is ascribed to in the school system or whatever. But it helped them a lot. And at
sure.
first, of course they didn't get it. They were kids, and dad was sitting them down every night after dinner, making sure that they had their either half hour or so of reading.
Huh.
Of course they didn't get it. Of course they were frustrated. You know what I mean? But I am just the type of person where if I feel like something is really important, then that's what we're going to be doing day in, day out. And I do the same thing with my career or anything else that I feel has a specific goal.
You are big on continuing education. I
Yeah,
know that.
yeah, I am.
Didn't you just get your certified negotiator? Didn't you
Yeah,
just go
the
through that?
Renee, the real
Yeah.
estate negotiation expert. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just got that. Yeah, yeah, I am big on that. I'm seeing that in this business, no one else is going to kind of force you to, take these courses and to level up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Um, I learned that, before being a realtor. I learned that simply in trying to accumulate properties just for investing. I
Mhm.
had to sit down and read books to understand what I was doing. I had to understand the finance world at least a little bit. I'm
Sure. No,
definitely
absolutely.
not trying to be, some sort of lender or something, but I have to understand it at least a
Hey,
little
it's
bit.
not that bad. Not all of us are
Not
bad.
throwing shade at you or nothing, but you
No,
um,
you're right, because I need to understand your side a
yep.
tiny bit. But you know
At,
what?
at,
You got a
at the
lane, I
very
got a lane.
least, at the very least. And, one of those continued education things that I did, I spent 20 years in the military. You're not going to find a whole lot of people that are going to know more about the military than somebody that has been in it. So
Exactly.
I didn't need to get my military relocation professional certificate because I
Mhm.
spent
No,
20
because
years in
you've
the
lived
military.
it.
Everyone knows I understand it.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
did it anyway just to kind of, go through number one, go through the course and see what they were teaching.
Sure.
you know.
Sure. No,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So those types of things are big for me. I also have my sellers representative specialist cert as well. Those are, I think those are worth it. Trying to understand how I can better serve my clientele. Yeah.
And those aren't easy classes. It's not like you just sit and watch something online, they hand you a certificate.
No,
It
no.
it
Everything
takes
is,
work.
time based, and
Yeah.
then there's a certain amount of hours. There definitely are exams at the end and stuff like that. So
I think the negotiation expert is absolutely critical in this market. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot of agents that have that designation.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
there's a lot of different uh letters that you can put behind your name, different
yeah.
designations you can get. But I only know two, and I know a lot of agents that have some sort of negotiation designation. I know there's
Yeah,
one other designation, but in this crazy market where you have to negotiate. This isn't just I'm
definitely.
going to hand you an offer, and so for my buyer, and you're desperate, and so you're just to sell your home, so you're just going to give in to whatever. You
Yeah.
truly have to negotiate.
It is definitely, we're in that time period where yes, you definitely got to negotiate because both sides are feeling pressure right now, whether it's buyers or sellers. The sellers feel like they have the upper hand, but do they? You kind of you kind of have to really, the numbers would say that yeah, they've got the upper hand, but that's not quite exactly how everything is working out in real world. It
Hmm.
completely it's completely dependent on the property, what you need, what you want to exit with. Everything is
Sure.
completely independent. So we're definitely not in the market right now where, it was 2 years ago, where sellers had such an upper hand
I,
that,
I don't want to go
you don't
back
need to
to
even
that
talk.
market.
You don't need to talk at all. You just throw it on the MLS and buyers come running. Now it's definitely a little bit different. definitely different.
Yeah, especially in the I'm gonna say in the price range, anything over about 525, it just up to that 500 range and there, stuff still sells pretty fast.
Hmm.
Obviously, those lower something in the lower prices and like a 350, which you can still find some pretty nice houses for that.
Yeah, yeah. You can
There's
still
that
find
there's
decent homes there in that price range. And um, what I'm seeing is that it doesn't really matter what price range you're in. What ends up happening is if if you're in the price range that the rest of the neighborhood is in, um, you might find yourself struggling as a seller anyway.
Mhm,
You might find yourself struggling anyway because people are still with mortgage rates being where they are now, a little bit higher, and affordability being where they are now.
mhm.
Buyers are trying to find the absolute best, and if their price range
Yeah.
is 350 to 400, they're not just going to scoop something up just because it's in their
Yep.
price range. They
Mm.
are trying to find the absolute best. Um, so I'm seeing things kind of just hang out on the market because it wasn't priced quite right, and
Mhm.
some of the tools that can be used to actually get it off the market have not been implemented. So yeah.
Like a gallon of paint. That's a
There you
great
go.
tool. It's a great tool.
It's the simple things, Linnea.
Yeah,
It's the simple thing.
it really is. Mow the lawn,
Yep.
mow the weeds.
Make it presentable. Yep.
Exactly. I mean, it's Colorado. Very few of us have an actual lawn, right? I'm one
Yep.
of them. I try, but it's just
Yeah,
mow the weeds.
we got lawn, and I'm considering doing the whole zero scape thing,
Yeah,
but for now, I'm wasting all that water on lawn, man. Yep.
I gave up. Oh, and then this summer being so wet.
Yeah,
How does a
I
weed
heard
grow to 6 feet tall overnight? I'm not sure.
I heard it's gonna get we're gonna get a lot of snow apparently this winter. Apparently,
Banish the thought.
is it
Just
El Nino or
don't even
whatever?
think it.
Yeah, I think that's what's happening. And I'm a
Nice.
realist, Linnea, so it's coming. I'm not a I'm not an optimist. I'm a realist. I'm a realist slash pessimist. So I do everything I can.
I like that, a realist slash pessimist. You are the glass is always half full kind of person,
Listen,
or half empty kind of person.
it helps me though. It saves me because I know that I'm being real with myself in the fact that things go wrong. Whether or not you want to hope and pray that things are always amazing, I'm usually trying to prepare for something that might go wrong, and then when it does, I'm like, yeah, well, I kind of figured, so I'm there, I'm set. You know what I mean?
That's something about the law of attraction, though. You're not supposed to think negative all the time.
Hey,
Yeah. Let's think positive.
gotta prepare.
Rates are
Gotta
coming
prepare.
down. Let's think
Mm,
positive.
mm.
Hey, you touched on something when we were talking about investors.
Yeah.
And you said something that I don't hear a lot of people say, and something, especially new investors, don't think about, and that's what is their exit strategy?
Uh,
Are they going to sit and hold that property? Are they flipping it? Are they keeping it? How long are they keeping it for? So you go over those concepts with
yeah,
them, I'm
most
assuming.
definitely. Um, you know, I'm kind of biased towards long-term holding, because like I said, I did, a couple flips, and I personally realized that I'm not a flipper. I don't
Mhm.
really get into
That's
that. That takes quite a bit of effort, quite a bit of work. You got to know what you're doing. Your numbers have to be perfect,
Yep.
right? So if it's a brand new investor, or relatively new to the game, and they're trying to flip a property and they really haven't thought it through, that's something where my pessimistic nature can help out. You know what I mean? Like I can open their
It's not
eyes
gonna work. Not
to
gonna
quite a
work.
few things that could go wrong, right? But I mean, the more experienced they are, the better. You know what I mean? They
Sure.
that comes. Um, Long term, actually, same type of thing though. You still have to budget in the fixes. You still have to budget in the maintenance, and then that last question you threw out there, how long you want to hold it? That is actually a very important question. You know, because just because it's long term doesn't mean that 6 years from now you won't want to use that money or whatever you did, use the profit to get it into something else or to
Yeah.
1031 exchange it into another property or whatever. So it is worth actually sitting down and trying to get a plan together. Yeah.
I think anybody that is interested in starting to invest in real estate, even if it's like something, well, in 5 years, I want to do this, if that's their goal, they need to sit down now with someone like you and have a conversation. What does that look like? What do I need? And of course, you need to get pre-qualified by a good lender. I'll give you a number.
Yeah.
But no, but a phone number, that is. But no, it's true. You need to think about what are you going to do with those. I know
Yeah.
everybody's kind of been on the Airbnb, jumped on that wagon
Yeah.
for a while.
Yeah. I'm not hearing great things right now about the trajectory of Airbnb. I would assume I never got into it, but I
Mm,
would assume that it's still viable depending on how you want to do it. People definitely do have to realize, especially in our area, that there are permits required now in certain cities and certain locales. You got to make sure that you have the correct permits. So yeah, it's not quite all just everything's amazing for
sure.
for people that want Airbnbs right now. Things you still got to think real hard.
Seems like that market could get saturated
Yeah,
pretty quickly too,
yeah,
unless you have like a really unique property. Like I think if I want to go somewhere in an Airbnb, I want something unique. Like I want something in the middle of Garden of the Gods, or I
mm.
realize they're all over town and it's not like that. So the permits, is it anything that you're going to rent that's under 30 days? Is that when you have to have a permit? Do you know?
No. So it's basically actually, you know what? I don't want to give out bad information, so that's something that I would have to research. But the way I understood it, though, is that if it is short term, like you're saying, under
Mm.
30 days, then you do have to get it permitted. But I don't know if it's exactly 30 days or not, so I don't want to give out bad
Well,
info.
because I know, like, if you're doing midterm, like those 3 to 6 month. So I don't know what
Hmm.
happens between one month and 3 months, but I know a lot of people doing like the visiting nurses, traveling nurses, and stuff
Yeah,
like that. Those are longer.
yeah,
So, but there's a really good example. There's a whole market that someone might be thinking about, oh, I'm going to do Airbnb or I'm going to do midterm rental or whatever it is. That's why they need to sit down with an agent, because exactly what you just said, there's a permit. I don't necessarily know all the rules because nobody's asked me, but you
yeah,
know where to go find that information
yeah, 100%.
and,
And I
and
mean,
decipher that information.
HOAs as well, right? So
Oh,
if
yeah.
that property is in an HOA and the HOA itself has decided that, hey, Airbnbs, period, are banned, there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. You know what I mean? So
Oh, yeah.
you got to be very careful on where you're picking those Airbnb spots if that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Don't go on Zillow and look. Please get an agent. Get an agent. Find someone that can actually guide you in all these different things. So when you're not doing real estate, what do you do for fun? I know you smoke
So,
cigars for fun. I know that, but
yep, I sure do.
yeah.
I mean, kind of boring, tell you the truth, right? So my hobbies, there is smoking cigars, right? So that is something that I do. It's kind of like it's not meditation, but it's
Uh,
close, right? It's
sure.
something where I
It's
can
your
kind of
time.
just sit back and reflect, and it's me time, right?
Hmm.
Um, Going along with that, I'm a Scotch drinker, so I I get into Scotch and I get into bourbon, right? And for me, it's not one of those things where, oh, I'm drinking Scotch.
Uh,
It's the same type of deal as the cigars. For me, it is a reflection.
sure.
I get to understand the taste. I get to understand why it is that this bottle costs so much. Like if I'm buying an expensive bottle of something, I want to actually take the time and enjoy it and understand why this maker, you know, decided to spend 12 years keeping this in a barrel.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the way that my mind works. Um, Other than that, I do, I play chess a lot online.
I was
Um,
just gonna say, don't you play chess too? Because I
yeah,
know when you do your videos,
yeah.
I
There's
see
a
chess boards in the background.
yeah. There's a chessboard in the back, and that funny thing with that chessboard that was given to me by my wife and my mother-in-law, um, as a
Really?
gift because they saw that I was always into chess and everything. And it's a hanging board.
That's
Anybody
pretty
that's
cool.
not
Yeah, I
seen
see
it,
that. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it hangs there, and I use that right now for like long-term chess
Oh
matches.
my gosh.
Yeah, so it's like right now I actually have one going with a friend of mine, and we're doing 7 days per move, right? So you have 7 days to complete a move. It's what it is.
Oh
So
my
I'll do
god.
one. I'll
Oh
change it
my
on
gosh.
that
That's
board. So every time I walk into my home office, I can look over there and I can see, So I'll give myself a break and think about a chess move, whatnot. Yeah. Um, but other than that, I mean, hobby wise, I do watch quite a few. Not I don't watch quite a few movies, but I watch a decent amount. I'm into reading quite a bit. Obviously, self help books, education books, real estate, um, finance, biographies are really big for me. Biographies that kind of detail the life of hopefully successful people, and
mhm.
try to get what I can from that, you know. So that's kind of how I spend most of my time. And then, every now and then we'll get out on the town, do our little date nights and stuff like that.
it's, it's nice to take your wife out once in a while. So I see a very analytical person.
Yeah,
We're
I mean, I
we're
guess,
analyzing our cigars and our chess and our
yeah,
scotch
yeah.
and
I mean, you
constantly
can you
learning.
can kind of term it that way. You know what I
You
mean?
know what? I think that's awesome, to be honest with you. So
I appreciate it.
I have so appreciated you sharing this with us, and I can't I can't tell our listeners enough how much I enjoy working with you. We get to laugh sometimes,
Yep.
and we see some we see some crazy things, and we have an awesome um, young army sergeant right now that we're working
Yep.
with that um,
And we'll get them
I
through.
yeah, I
Yep.
told Jerome
We'll get them
the little
through.
bit ago. I said, "If you talk to our son, because that's kind of how I feel right now." I love him to death, and of course, I love my VA people. So,
Yeah.
if you would like to give Jerome a call, which I'm sure you would, again, and I got to look over here because I don't want to mess your number up. It's 719-967-3015.
Yep.
So give him a call, text him, pick his brain because you can tell he's constantly learning and he absolutely understands. For only being in the business for 2 years, uh, he's very up to date on everything and absolutely understands what's going on. The other thing I think is important is he's not going to hand you off to a team member because you're doing it all yourself.
That is correct. Yep.
So what you see is what you get, and that's absolutely huge. Buyers or sellers, which do you have a preference?
I think as far as past transactions, I'm close to being split down the middle. Um,
Mhm.
I think I've worked with more buyers. I will say though that the one, I mean, if we're talking about like the joy that I get from one or the other, buyers, first time home buyers,
Oh my gosh.
that's
Yes,
like, man, it just hits you right here. You know what I mean?
it
Like,
does.
just real quick before you wrap up, that's probably one of the proudest moments I had was I had a client last year, um, close to 60 years old, Army veteran, right? Had never owned a home and was trying to figure it out the whole time with, different agents. And, he gave me a shot and we got it done. You know what I mean? And then
Yep,
like that to me, that was like, oh man, that's
it
perfect,
is.
right? That's who
Yep,
I want to help. And it gave me that feeling of like, okay, mission accomplished again,
yep.
purpose fulfilled. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah,
I totally
yeah,
understand. I totally understand. There's just nothing like handing, that first-time home buyer the keys to their very own home.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Something
whether
something that
they're
they've had
young
in the
and
back
just
of their mind
starting.
forever,
Yeah.
and then it finally gets realized. Yeah,
Yep.
that's something special right there. With sellers, yeah, it's great. It's amazing, right? But it's not the same impact.
Mhm.
It's not the same impact.
Well,
But I
with
definitely like walking sellers through the fact
yep.
that yeah, they can take this, maybe they're in profit, they can take this and then use it for further investments. That's where some of my you know earlier experience can come in. But yeah,
I totally get it. And there are agents that don't necessarily want to work with those first-time home buyers. So I think it's important that when someone is a first-time home buyer, they find obviously their lender.
yep,
My
that's a big
shameless
deal.
plug, right? No, but they need to
Big
no,
deal though.
seriously. They need to have an agent um that is going to understand the panic because they're going to
Yeah,
be nervous the whole way through and is going to take time to explain things to them. And I think the same goes for that first time investor too.
yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe your first time home buyer, you now own your home and you want to invest,
yeah.
but it's scary.
And for the
It's a
for the
scary
first time
proposition.
investor, you're absolutely right with first time investors because what they go through is something I don't know if you've heard this term before, but it's something called analysis paralysis, right?
Oh, yeah, oh,
One
absolutely.
hundred
I'm one of
percent.
those people.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's one of those things where you'll read all about it, you'll do all the pre work, but you get stuck in that pre work phase.
Yep.
Um, and it's like, oh, I don't know if I should do it, blah blah blah. I was there. I get it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But
No,
I can also
true.
get you over that hump and get you into that first investment property.
Yep. Sometimes people just need to get that last little bit of guidance,
Yeah.
you know. So, well, again, I thank you honestly for coming and talking to me today. And it's Jerome Hanson,
Yep.
Hanson with an O,
Yep.
not a SEN, with Cell State Alliance Realty.
Hmm.
So give them a call, sit down and talk to them, even if you're just starting to explore either buying your first home or your first investment property or any investment property, or doesn't matter if you're a move up buyer or not. I think you'll see that Jerome is going to absolutely guide you through this.
I really
So
appreciate it, Linnea. Thanks so much for having me on
yeah,
too.
absolutely. So we will get you back on here again because there's like I just like to talk and I got like 1,000 more questions to ask you.